Hey y'all, welcome back to Zesty Thoughts with your host Annábla. This is episode 8, y'all. Thank you for joining. I have a little bit of a change of scenery. I have this tapestry up in my room anyway. So I was like, why don't I use it? I feel like this is a better backdrop. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my setup like on a permanent basis, but I'm just chilling in my bed and this is like a little bit more comfortable. So I think I'm going to do this from now on, like week by week. I just like it better. Anyway, so that's the vibe. I feel like this also matches the vibe of like how my week was. I had a really chill week. My last 2 weeks were actually pretty crazy because I subbed. So I was working a little bit more than I normally do. So that was a lot. Like, I feel like I was like drained energy wise, but this past weekend I had like the perfect end to like a busy few weeks. My grandparents have an RV and they permanently live in their RV. They're like little travel bunnies. So they're always all around. They go to the desert a lot. When the weather is permitted. But right now, because of the heat, they were staying in Idyllwild for a month. And I had never been there before. So I was like, hey, I have a weekend free. And my grandma missed me. So I was like, okay, I'll come visit. So I drove up on Saturday morning and it was a nice drive. Like the mountain wasn't too bad. I've driven up to like Arrowhead and Big Bear before, so like compared to that it was pretty chill. And I saw some like deer on the road, or a single deer on the road on my way up the mountain, and I had to like stop my car and like wait for it to cross. It was so cute, and it was just like staring at me, like it like turned its head and just looked at my car and was like staring me down. I was like, hi Mr. Deer or Miss Deer. And it was just chilling. Like it was taking its time. I was like, okay, can we move it along? But it was really cute. I hadn't seen deer in a while. I don't live anywhere where there's like deer. So it's not like I'm seeing deer all the time. So that was pretty cool. I got to see some wildlife, and I saw a ton of like little chipmunks and like squirrels and stuff like that, and really, really beautiful birds right outside the window of their RV. There's like a tree, and there was like this bluish bird. I don't even know what kind of bird it was. It was so pretty. And it was like just chilling on the tree, like right next to the window. So we had a pretty good view of that little tweet while we were just chilling inside. But yeah, the drive up was chill, and we just went into the downtown area, like did some window shopping. We got food. All the food we had was really good. We went to this like Italian restaurant, and there was like a duo, like these two dudes playing like old jazz and like blues and like pop and R&B and stuff. And of course my grandma and my mom are like my biggest like fans and advocates. They're like, my daughter sings. I was like, oh no. Like sometimes I get embarrassed when they do that, but I am also grateful because I'm kind of shy, and like I would never be like, hey, I sing, I just feel like that's like weird to do. But if someone else does it, I'm like still embarrassed, but it's like a little bit more like reasonable and acceptable. But yeah, so they were like, oh really, you sing, like hop up. So I sang a few songs with them, and they were so nice. It was really cool to just on the fly go through some standards, and like I don't know, it was a fun time. And then we went to this like tea shop, and I literally went insane. Like from the outside, we were walking in this little like alley that has a bunch of shops, and I could see the building next door. There was a window, and through the window I could see like shelves of honey. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go get honey. That's crazy. I'm going to go in that store. Lo and behold, I walk in, and it's like walls and walls of tea, like just loose leaf tea, like a ton. And they're categorized by like black, green, herbal, like all that. And I was just like crazy. I went nuts in there. And I'm honestly, when I first walked in, the first thing I saw was like this beautiful tea set that they had right by the front door. And then like the first shelves when you walk in were all just like beautiful tea sets. So I had to cop one because I actually like For someone that really likes tea and drinks a lot of tea, I don't have like a teapot with matching teacups. I just like never got one. So I was like, I think it's time. Like, I need to get a tea set. And they had so many that it was like really hard for me to choose. I was trying to choose between two. There was one that was like white and it had like shamrocks on it. I'm Irish, so I was like, oh my gosh, I should get that one. But then the other one I saw was like this beautiful blue with like lots of beautiful colors, like kind of floral, like hand painted. So I ended up going with the blue one because it was a little bit more striking. But the woman working there said that they have an online shop too. So maybe I'll link that below because they had so much cool stuff. And I think I might get the other one eventually. I don't know. Part of me is like, I should have just got both, but it is what it is. I also got two teas. I got like a Thai tea blend and this jasmine black tea blend. It's called monkey something, like monkey jasmine. I forget the name, but it sounded really good. So I copped it and I just wanted to find something that had jasmine in it. I was hoping that they would have like a green jasmine tea, but they didn't. So I don't know. There's something about jasmine green tea that's like, it's like a really like nostalgic smell for me. This is so random. But when I was little, there was like a McDonald's toy and I don't even know what the toy was, but it was scented and the scent of it was jasmine green tea, like literally to a T. And there's just something about that smell that like is nostalgic to me now. Like every time I smell jasmine green tea, it's like, whoa. And I love the taste of it. Like obviously I love jasmine tea on its own and I love green tea on its own. So like the two of them together, delish. But yeah, that's like, I guess that's like kind of what I'm thirsting for this week is my new tea set. I'll put a picture here too, so you guys can see what I got. Oh, it's so cute. So I'm excited, even though it's been like really hot. I don't know that I'll like use it for its intended purpose. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just brew some and let it brew and then I'll chill it after. But I'm excited for like winter. I can have like cozy nights in or like fall cozy nights in and like make tea for me and my family and stuff. So I'm excited to put that to use. But yeah, so I don't know. I just feel so refreshed after this weekend. It was really nice to get out and be in the mountains and be around nature and trees and just be like kind of like dialed down from like the hustle and bustle of like life. So that was really, really nice. And I definitely want to go back there now. And like, I didn't like hike or do anything like that because it was just so hot. And two, it was just me and my grandparents. So next time I want to go, and there were like a ton of like trailheads, like, and like parking lots and stuff, like nature centers. As I was going up the mountain to where they were staying, there were a ton of places like that. So I'm assuming there are like a ton of like hiking trails and stuff like that to go for. So I think I'll probably do that next time. Maybe I'll go up with like a friend or my partner or something. I think it'd be cool. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thirsting for is like that tea set and jasmine green tea. I love jasmine green tea. Real ones know. But yeah, my hot take of the week, literally part of it comes from this morning. I actually have two hot takes of the week, but my first hot toddy take of the week is that you should wipe down gym equipment. And I feel like that's not even that hot of a take. Genuinely, I feel like that's just like common sense and like very tame, but apparently not everyone thinks that. So this morning I was at the gym. I did legs and then I did cardio. So I was doing legs and I think I was on like it was a leg curl or leg extension machine. I forget which one. I was on one of those machines and I had my bag with me because when I do legs and then cardio, I wear my Vans for when I do legs because I want like flat. Like I would do it like barefoot in my socks, but like I'm grossed out by that. So I just wear Vans because there's like it's just like flat basically. And then when I do cardio, I put my Brooks on. So I had my bag with my Brooks and my water bottle and like all my stuff in it. And I had it like next to the machine, like right up against it. And I finished my last set and then I go to get a wipey. They have like sanitizing wipes that you can like pull out and use to clean the equipment. So it's not gross and sweaty and like have germs on it. And so I grabbed one of or like a handful of the wipes, so that I could go back to the machine that I was done with and wipe it down so that someone else could use it, like how you're supposed to. So there was a dude sitting down at the machine already, and I waved like the wipies, like to be like, oh, like, do you want me to, because my stuff was still there. Like, little does he know that like I still have more sets left, like, and it's like I was gone for like 5 seconds. Like, he watched me walk away, or might have, he very well could have. And I was like, oh, do you want me to like I have these to wipe down? And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, I just finished, like, I'm gonna wipe down though. And he was like, oh no, that's okay. And I was like, oh, are you sure? Like, I have the wipies I can wipe down. Like, I was kind of sweaty. And then he just like rolled his eyes and stood up, like, and like started to walk away. And I was like, oh, like, I'm done. Like, I don't have any more sets left. I was just gonna wipe it down for you because it's kind of like gross, And he was like, no, then it's gonna be all wet. And I was like, It's funny to me because it was already wet from like all my sweat. So like, would you rather have sweat and like germs wet, or like sanitizer wet? Like, dude. And he was also wearing like pants, like full length pants, and like a long sleeve shirt. So like, what wet are you even gonna feel? It's not like it's like dripping. Like, I'm not spraying the thing down. Like, it's like a wipe that dries within like 20 or 30 seconds. So I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, no, like, then it's gonna be wet. And he just walked away. And I was like, oh, okay, that's disgusting. You don't want me to wipe it? Like, ew. I don't know. I just feel like that's so gross. Like, if someone's literally, like, it's almost like you go to sit down on a machine and you can see that it's like covered in something, and you can tell if someone's wiped it down because the whole thing will have like little, like swipe marks, and it'll be like slightly damp. It's not soaking and dripping wet. Like it actually, there were drips on it, like from when I was sitting there. Like, dude, I don't know. That just grossed me out. And I had the ick after that. I was like, oh my God. Like, and sometimes like I'll sit down on a machine and I'll like forget to wipe it down first. And now I'm going to be like anal about it, because that was like, oh wow, people really don't wipe machines down. That's so gross. And I know I've seen people like online, like on TikTok, talking about like diseases being spread at the gym. And now I'm like even more, that in combination with like seeing someone at my gym like not care, I was like, oh, I see now. People are disgusting. People are gross. And I get the whole argument, like, oh, well, I'm going to go home and like shower anyways, like whatever. But like, I have to like walk out of the gym and sit in my car, like on my seat in my car. So I'm supposed to like then wipe my seat down in my car after I get, like when I get home, get out of the car and like sanitize my seat. Like, no, I don't know. I'd rather just wipe down the equipment. I feel like that's gross. I feel like it's gross. I don't even think that's that hot of a take. I just feel like everyone should think that's gross. I don't know. People don't care. I guess there's two kinds of people, but maybe that's just like a guy thing. I don't know. Maybe not though, because that's another thing that I've like noticed recently. I've been like paying attention to like people and how they wash their hands. And that's another thing. I mean, y'all already know how I feel about the whole foam hand soap thing, but on top of it, like, I have seen so many women in my gym walk out of a stall and like either just not wash their hands at all and literally just walk out, or like walk up, turn the water on, and just kind of like, it's like when you're cooking and you have like something on your hands and you just like kind of rinse your fingertips and then you keep going. But they do that like after coming out of a bathroom stall, after touching the lock on a bathroom door. Like, that's enough. Even if I'm going into the bathroom and all I touch is the lock and I don't even like go, if I'm just like changing or something, and then I have to touch the lock again, like, dude, that thing, the lock, germ city, dude. Germ city. People touch that after wipe. I mean, I don't even need to explain myself. I don't even need to like go into the details. It's just gross. And I can't believe that there are people that like literally just don't like get it. And also people, when they do wash their hands, like they don't wash their hands properly. And that's just gross and disappointing. So honestly, I always sanitize like my Beats, my phone, my water bottle, like basically anything that I touch like in the gym, I sanitize like when I leave the gym. And I'll like, before I even walk out to go to my car, I'll go into the bathroom and wash my hands. And then when I get in my car, I'll take a Lysol wipe. Like I keep Lysol wipes in my car and just like clean all my water bottle, everything, all of my phone, my Beats and everything. And then I'll like toss that and then I'll sanitize my hands. Like, I don't know. Is that like overboard? I'm just like, I don't want to like get sick from the gym. I know it could be like from the air, but like, I don't want to like, the germs are just a no. And I feel like gyms are just like gross and dirty places. Like, compared to other public places. So I just, yeah, no, I'm going to stand on that. But I don't even think that's a hot take. I would be shocked if people like, if there was like a devil's advocate to that. Cause I feel like that's just like hygienic and hygiene and like, ew. I feel like I don't realize that. I'm not very realistic with the fact that like most people have bad hygiene. Ugh. That's gross. I don't know. That gives me the ick now. Now my brain is like, Anyway, so that's one of my hot toddy takes, I guess, of the week. My second hot toddy take is this whole blush trend and the blush blindness that has been like wreaking havoc on like makeup trends right now. And I don't know, like I'm not one to like hate on someone for like doing something that they like or like, you know what I mean? But so many people are like loading up the blush. And I feel like it just comes down to like, okay, what are you going for? Are you going for like drag full beat, like camera ready, photo ready, stage ready? Are you going for that kind of beat? Or are you going for like everyday clean girl daytime look? And I feel like when you go in between those two things, it is confusing to me in my brain. When you're either one or the other, it's like very clear. Oh, you have like the clean girl aesthetic, you have a simple makeup look on, or you know, you have the full beat. Like I see one or the other and it makes total sense. But when I see something that's like a mix of the two or in between, I feel like it confuses me. And that's where like the heavy blush is like, it doesn't work in my brain, because to me, the heavy blush is like drag full beat. But then I see girls with like clean girl aesthetic, like really light coverage foundation, the fake freckles, and then like fat, like peachy pink cheeks. And I don't know. Maybe really what it comes down to is that I am someone that struggled with redness my entire like life from when I can remember with my skin. I just like in general, I have redness on my arms. Like it's not even rosacea or anything. It's just like general redness because I'm like virtually transparent. I'm so light, so fair with my skin. So like, but in my face, because of acne, because of, you know, whatever, I've dealt with dark spots and redness. And like my goal is always to like cancel that out. So I rarely wear blush to begin with, because even with like a full coverage face, like this is like medium coverage for me, but even with like a full coverage face, I feel like my skin will kind of like, the makeup will set into my skin and then you'll still be able to see the redness from underneath. So I almost never use blush for that reason. So I'm not that I'm anti-blush. Like I would use it if I was doing like really full beat, if my face looked like too flat. But maybe that's like why I'm kind of like turned off by the like really, really heavy blush look, because I don't think I could pull it off. But I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. Like that in between full beat and natural, to me, it's just so high contrast. It's when the contrast in any part of your face is like too extreme and there isn't balance is what kind of bothers me. And it's not like I'm even a makeup artist, but like you can tell if someone has like a really strong eye, like a smoky eye, but then their lips are like too light. It's like something like doesn't add up, you know, like, or when people, that's a whole other debate too, is like the idea of wearing like clean girl, like light coverage kind of makeup, but then like not having mascara on. So the eyes look really like light. And I feel like they kind of blend in dimensionally with like the rest of the face. And I kind of get where it's coming from, but also like you could just wear like brown mascara and it would be like that same kind of like on that same field, like on that same plane of like really neutrals. Like I get not liking the look of like the very dark mascara with like a light face. But I don't know. I think it's just a contrast thing. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not trying to like hate on people, but I feel like it's more flattering like on anybody's given face to have something that's balanced, that like enhances your natural beauty. Unless you're just trying to like have fun and experiment, then like that's like a whole other can of worms, you know? It's like whatever, like you can do whatever you want, you can have fun with it. And sometimes there is beauty and like high fashion and something being striking and getting someone's attention and like it being different and like, you know what I mean, out of the norm of like typical makeup trends. So I get the appeal to an extent. I guess it's just maybe not for me, but the blush blindness is real, y'all. I'm telling you right now. I love those videos. People are like, girls will post on TikTok and stuff and like, you know, what blindness do I have? And I think some of them are so funny. Like I saw one today that was like, it was like a makeup artist. She posted like someone's makeup that she did. It wasn't her face. It was someone's else's face. And she was the makeup artist. And she was like, oh, what's my makeup blindness as a makeup artist? And the makeup was like, it was so good. It was just so clean and like so like crisp, but like the lashes were crazy. And I think it's just like the girl had like extensions, like what am I saying? Lash extensions. So like her lash map was just like a little bit dramatic. And that's like a whole other like debate that people have regarding like lash maps and lash extensions and like how tasteful like a dramatic lash is versus like doing it natural. And I feel like that's just like up to personal taste, but like that was the only thing that was really sticking out. And so all the comments are like, no, this is really good, but like the lashes girl, and she's like, oh, I didn't even like do those lashes, you know, like that was the girl's lashes already. And she's like, oh, okay. But I think that's so funny when people ask that. I would love feedback on that too, because I feel like everyone like you just see your own face every day, you do your same beat every day or whatever, and then you get used to seeing it, and then that like blindness is so real. Like you're just used to seeing yourself, so you can't, it's hard to see yourself in like a fresh light. So maybe I'll post a TikTok like that and see if people will comment if there's any like blindnesses with me and like my makeup and stuff like that. I definitely think I had brow blindness for a while when I was doing like the laminated kind of thing, and I already have pretty full brows to begin with, so it's like I didn't need to be laminating, girl. That was a little bit much. So I'm self-aware regarding that. And I definitely had a phase where when I was little, my brows were too thin. Ooh, maybe I'll post a picture here if I want to like go crazy and hard on myself. Ooh, it was really bad. I was like over plucking, but I feel like everyone has that phase where they're like trying to do their brows and they go a little crazy with it. But I think that blindness is gone now. I kind of wish that they were more upturned. That's like my only critique about my brows, but I'm scared also to cut them and do like that straight look because I don't want to lose like the volume and everything. But I do think it would actually make it look a little bit more lifted, and I like that like lifted look. So anyway, but yeah, that's like kind of my hot toddy take, the blush blindness. Maybe it's just that like if your makeup isn't balanced, that's what makes it look bad. You know, if someone like you see someone and like their makeup is just kind of off-putting, I feel like that's what it is that the balance is off. Either it doesn't match the time of day or the vibe of their outfit or the rest of their, you know, their fit or their features. Yeah. If it's just too like high contrast, sometimes it's like, whoa. But also there's a time and place for that. Like there's a time and place for it to be like crazy looking, you know, and just like over the top and like dramatic. Um, but I don't know. I mean, some people are just going crazy every day, and that's just them and that's their personality. And then I feel like that makes sense though. If that's you and you own it and that's you every day, then like then I'll buy it. You know what I mean? Like I'll eat it up. But I don't know. Anyway, okay, my next topic. Okay, I do actually have kind of like an out of pocket story with a student of mine this week. And I've had reoccurring, I I don't know if I want to say issues with this student, but she's like she's like 10, I think. 10, maybe 9 or 10 or 11. She's just getting to that age where she thinks she knows everything and like is getting a little sassy and talking back and trying to like stall when she's not in the mood to be at the lesson and like do all this stuff. So she's just doing too much. Basically, yesterday we had a lesson and it was a Zoom lesson instead of in person, which I've had issues with her in the past with Zoom lessons, like her like just turning off the camera randomly or just muting randomly and not explaining why, like just doing it for fun, and then me being like, can you unmute or can you turn your camera back on, and just like fully interrupting the lesson for things like that. So I've already dealt with that a little bit with her in the past. So yesterday we were on Zoom and I log in and she joins the waiting room and I let her in, and basically oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. She says hi, we say hi, we like talk for a little bit, and then she tells me that she can't hear me. And I was like, oh, really? And so at first I like genuinely believed it. I was like, maybe there's an audio issue. So in the chat, I was like, turn your volume all the way like down and then turn it back up again. Like try that, see if it works. So anyway, she tried the volume thing, didn't work. And then I was like, okay, can you maybe like turn your microphone off and like rejoin the audio, because maybe that's what it is. Anyway, long story short, we're like troubleshooting with all these things, and she's like, no, you know what, it's okay, like we don't have to, like we can still do the lesson if I can't hear you. And I was like, not really though, like you need to be able to hear me instruct you. I don't want to type the whole time. We need to figure this out. I don't want to be chatting with you the entire lesson, but at that point I could already tell that she could hear me talking and was just pretending not to hear me, because I would like say something and she would be like quiet for a second and then she would respond. Like she was purposefully pausing to make it seem like she didn't hear me finish talking. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh God. I was like, I don't have enough energy for this right now, dude. Anyway, then she's like, okay, let's just tune, because it was a ukulele student. She's like, okay, let's just tune, share the tuner on the screen. So when you share, I have this tuner app that I use and I share it on the Zoom screen so that the tuner can listen to the audio of the student through Zoom, and then when like correct it and they can see what the tuner looks like, the app. And then when it's complete and the string is in tune, there's a check mark and then there's like a little sound that confirms. Well, so she was like, oh, just share the tuner on the screen. So I was like, okay. So I shared my screen, and I started having her tune. And on the tuner, there's two settings. There's an automatic tuner where like it just listens to your string, and then you can kind of watch and correct it from there. The other setting is where you manually click on the tuner app, like the string name, the letter, and then it makes the pitch, like it does like a little pluck and it sounds like the exact pitch you're supposed to match. So you can practice tuning by ear. So she kept saying, oh, can you click on like A, or can you click on E, or whatever string it was. And in my head, I was like, I thought she couldn't hear me. Like I thought, how would she hear if I clicked it and then hear the tuner app if she couldn't hear me? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, that's like, I know my audio is fine because I had a Zoom lesson before and it was working fine. So I was like, she's trying to like dupe me right now. So I was like, oh, how can you hear? And I said this out loud, like I didn't put it in the chat. I was like, how will you be able to hear the tuner if you can't hear me? And then she responded, she was like, oh no, just press it. And I was like, oh, so you can hear me speaking. And she was like, gotcha. Gotcha with the tuner, girl. Gotcha. She was like, oh. She's like, oh, now I can. Dude, kids are nuts. She was like, now I can. Now I can hear you. I was like, oh, great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you can hear me now. Fantastic. Now that we've wasted like half of our lesson trying to figure out this non-existent issue. Yeah. So relieved. Dude, I just couldn't believe it. It's just so funny, man. Kids really think that they're like so smart and that they can just get away with anything. And that is just like the most satisfying feeling when you can just like, oh, you know, when you can just catch them like that and be like, oh, you know, actually, you can't do that. That's not cool. So I was like, girl, you could hear me the whole time, couldn't you? I said that to her. And she was like, no, like it cut out sometimes, but like, yeah, I could hear you. And I was like, oh boy. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to end it on that crazy, silly, goofy note right there. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you are listening on Apple Music, please give this show a rating. If you're listening on Spotify, please like, add it to your library, download, and rate this show. And thank you so much all for listening. Share this with your friends, share it on IG, on TikTok, all that. And thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week and a nice weekend. And be safe out there, y'all. Have fun. Bye.